everybody! So I thought this would be a perfect time to start my YouTube book review journey thing because I just finished this beautiful beast. Oh yes, this thing. And I also got this other beautiful beast the other day. Oh yes, I can't wait to read you. Anywho, yes, I just finished Lady Midnight. Now I know this book has been out for ages and people have already reviewed it, but you know what? I don't care because I felt like reviewing this because god damn girl, this book was good, and I don't know, I thought this would be a good kickstart to this because I'm just about to read Lord of Shadows, and you know what I mean. And yeah, I started reading it on the 13th of February and I stopped reading it at the 11th of March when I had about 3 chapters left, and I finished it all last night. I do this with everything. I don't know why. I put off books for ages or TV shows and I have like 3 episodes left or something and then I come back to it. I don't know why. I just didn't want it to end. It was so good. But yes, and I finally read it and oh my god, that end. Whew, my word. So what I'll do is review the whole book, like, you know, like the genre, who's it good for, blah 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 blah, and then I'll go into like a discussion thingy about the whole book and what happens in it, so spoilers and things will be involved in there. So if you haven't read this book yet, just leave when I get up to that part. But if you have or you don't care about spoilers, continue on, I don't mind. So anyways, if you don't know who she is, Cassandra Clare is the author of this book, and you may have heard of her. She has created the Mortal Instruments series and the Infernal Devices series and other books around as well. I don't know the names. But yes, you may know this because of the City of Bones movie that came out a few years ago, and now the new show that is on Netflix, Shadowhunters, which is based off the Mortal Instruments. Based off. So yes, she did all of this. This is connected to those series. It is its own separate thing, but it's still in that world. So just letting you know that. So yes, so this world is set in our world, but there is a little secret hidden there. Demons, warlocks, fairies, la-di-di, anything you can think of are all here. We can't see them though, the humans can't see them. There is a race of those shadow hunters who do their job and I wouldn't say protect the humans, well yeah, basically protect the humans, just kind of, you know, make sure things at peace and the humans never find out that these things exist. So, what are shadow hunters, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. Shadow hunters are Nephilim. Nephilim? Half angel warriors. I don't know. I don't watch the Shadow Hunters show, so I have no idea how things are actually pronounced, so I'm gonna say some things wrong. But anyways, half angel, half human warriors. Now, by half angel, I mean that one of their parents isn't an angel, it's just the blood. The blood of an angel has been passed on throughout these beings, so, you know. This particular book, Lady Midnight, is set in 2012, I think it is. 5 years after the Mortal Instruments series, which was set in 2007. That's so long ago. The book is centered on a character named Emma Carstairs, who was introduced to the fans of the series of the Mortal Instruments in the last book of that series, City of Heavenly Fire. She was a 12-year-old girl, now she's 17, and she wants to know who the hell killed her parents. If you're a fan of Cassandra Clare's other works and you're kind of like, oh, should I get this? Like, is she doing too much? Because I know she's coming out with more series, and I was like, she's got a lot of stuff to do, but she writes well. I love Cassandra Clare's writing. She writes her characters amazingly, so I was like, whatever. This book follows Emma, who wants to know who killed her parents, and her, along with other shadow hunters, try to figure it out along with other things, and they basically figure out that there is a bigger thing to worry about that is connected with her parents' death. So this book, I sort of put it in a detective fiction subgenre. It's very weird because we actually talked about that, how some TV shows or books, while they're not detective fiction, they'll have the whole looking for clues, doing all that. You know, this is one of those books. Pace-wise of the book, if you're not really a fan of the way Cassandra Clare's writing works, I don't know how this book must have felt to you or how it would feel to you. I personally don't mind how she writes. I love the way she writes. But pace-wise, stuff doesn't really happen as in progress to like about, I don't know, this way through? Like to about here, I suppose. When stuff really starts picking up and you're like, okay, things are happening. The whole up until that point is just really big build-up, enjoyable build-up. Mind you, it is enjoyable, but it takes a while for things to kick off and start going, which I don't know. I thought this was fine. Since this is a first in like a trilogy, maybe it was written that way because, you know, to get you used to these characters instead of like the old gang of the Mortal Instruments. To get you into these characters and see how they work and other things like that. In terms of relating it to the Mortal Instruments, I liked it. I thought it was a breath of fresh air. The characters aren't young little children. Now, when I started reading the Mortal Instruments for the first time, I was 12 to 13, so I did not care how old the characters was. You know, when you're young and you're like, someone who's 14 is so old to you, it was kind of like that. You know, the characters were 15, 16, I thought they were so old. When I got to that age and I was still reading the books, I was like, this isn't that realistic. But anyways, and it was kind of weird looking back on it now, being 20 and being like, she's 15 to 16 doing all that stuff. Oh, girl, what are you doing? So I kind of like that the characters' ages were bumped up in this novel. The main character, Emma, she's 17, the rest are like 17 to 18, and then other minor characters are 15 downwards. So, you know, it's nice change of pace. The main character as well is different to, like, new characters. Like I said, Cassandra Clare writes really good characters. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Okay, I just really like this book. However, if this is your first time ever joining the world that Cassandra Clare has created, the Shadowhunter world, or you're thinking of buying this book for a friend, I do some research because honestly, this book, as good as it is, you cannot, well, I guess you could try, but it spoils everything that happens in the Infernal Devices series, which is also part of this world, that is a prequel, and the Mortal Instruments series. It spoils everything. Like, well, not everything, but like the major plot points in all those books, it spoils all of that. Unless you don't care about being spoiled or anything like that at all, go ahead and read it. I'm not stopping you. But bear in mind, it spoils everything of this series. So if you happen to fall in love with this book and this world, you're gonna know all of the big plot points already in the other series. So there's that. Sorry about the lighting's changed. My beautiful natural lighting is gone. But anyways, back into it. So I would describe this book as like if George R. Martin created a series about Rhaegar and Lyanna in the Song of Ice and Fire. You know, those two. Yes. They're dead. Like, that's not a spoiler if you haven't read those books or watched Game of Thrones. They're already dead. They're dead before anything happened. Reading Game of Thrones, the Song of Ice and Fire series would be like reading Lady Midnight. You already know who these characters are. They're already dead. Yeah, that's the only way I can describe it. I know that's a bit weird, but whatever. It's like that. How about I read the blurb so you'll know? I'll probably put this in the beginning of the video because that makes more sense. Anyways, okay, this is the blurb. In a secret world where half-angel warriors are sworn to fight demons, See, again, I don't watch Shadowhunters, so I have no idea how that word is spelled. That's how I say it in my head. Anyways, is a sacred word. A parabata, so I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. This is how I've always pronounced it in my head. A parabata is your partner in battle. A parabati is your best friend. Parabati. You know, I used to pronounce it as Parabati. I don't know why. But anyways, is your best friend. They can be everything to each other, but they can never fall in love. Emma Carstairs is a warrior, a shadow hunter. She lives for battle. Alongside her Parabati, Julian Blackthorn, she patrols Los Angeles, where vampires party on the Sunset Strip and fairies da-dee-dee-dee-doo-dee-dee. When the bodies of humans and fairies are found murdered in the same way Emma's parents were when she was a child, an uneasy alliance is formed. This is Emma's chance for revenge. Oh my god. All they have to do is solve the murders within 2 weeks, and before the murderer targets them. It's like a detective fiction type thing going on, like a little subgenre, but it's entertaining. It's very entertaining. It's like a new spark into this world. It's like an introduction to the characters, you know? It's very nice. I like it. So, top it off. I'd say this book is like a 9 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10, because there were some things that bugged me. Certain character things. I did not mind the pace. I did not care that stuff didn't happen until like the end, because in all honesty, when I read any of Cassandra Clare's books, I'm sucked into it so quickly because the way she writes is really, really flowy. It's really nice. She writes very interesting characters that make you really like them. So if you're into that, I'd say give it a go. But like I said, this book will spoil things that happen in the Mortal Instrument series and the Infernal Devices series. If you've never touched those, if you're still reading them, I might consider putting this off. You might be annoyed about how much references they make to those books, but if that doesn't bother you, pick it up. It's a nice read. If you're into like the subgenre detective fiction stuff, it's very interesting. If you're a fan of the books and you're like, Cassandra Clare's writing too much, read it. It is really, really nice. You'll enjoy it, trust me. Every time I pick up her books, after years of reading them, I'm like, oh my god, this is why I love them so much. But anyways, yes, that is my review book. Now, this is where all of you people who've never read this book leave. Unless you like spoilers, then stay, because I'm going to discuss some things about this book that happen in here. So if you haven't read this book, you don't want to know anything about this book just yet, don't keep watching. Starting now, I'm going to get into it. Okay, so this book. So when I was reading City of Heavenly Fire, and I knew that she was writing a new series called The Dark Artificers, I don't know. And they introduced the characters of Emma and Julian and little Marky boy when they were like 12 and stuff. I was like, I know what's gonna happen. Like, there was this quote that stuck out to me. When Emma is looking at Mark, young Emma, in City of Heavenly Fire, I don't have the book with me, so I can't look at it. And she mentions something like, wow, he's really handsome and good looking. Immediately, I was like, I know what Lady Midnight will be about. It's gonna be a love triangle. It's gonna happen. Like, Mark's gonna come in and be like this little, hi, it's me, like a little extra spice, you know what I mean? Yeah, and they're just gonna do that, and like they're gonna be together in the first one, and then Julian comes in later, maybe. Boy, was I wrong! I was wrong! If you've read this book and you know, oh my god. I'm just gonna assume everyone who's read this book is watching this part, and if you don't care for spoilers, I'm gonna assume I was so wrong. Oh my god. Nothing happened between Emma and Mark. I shipped those two way too much. Like, okay, let's just go with that. The characters in these books are amazing. Oh my god, I love them. Mark was amazing. Emma's amazing. Julian's amazing. Like, she just writes good characters that I like. It's good. But anyways, I was just shipping Mark and Emma all this time because so many characters were like, oh, they like you. Like, you know, like Julian kept getting jealous because Emma was being all like, oh, but what about Mark? And he's like, why you keep mentioning Mark? Do you like him? And Kieran was all like, oh, you like that girl because she's so pretty. And it's like, stop doing this to me. I just want them to be together. And then, like, every time when Emma and freaking Mark were talking to each other, she was like, the pool of the wild is calling me in. And I'm like, what's that all about? And then, like, you know, I was like, something's gonna happen here. They're gonna fall in love. No, that doesn't happen. She gets with Julian, straight up. That was something I have to say that kind of pooped me off a bit, because I didn't want that to happen. Because, okay, the reason why I didn't want that to happen was because I have no idea how this story is going to end. I haven't touched Lord of Shadows just yet. I'll probably read it soon. But I wasn't expecting Julian and Emma to get nice with each other in this book at all. It was so subtle, her and Julian getting it on the beach, but it was, I'm pretty sure they did. That kind of made me feel like it's not like I'm a weird child who doesn't like that sort of stuff. It was just odd that that happened. Like, do they have that such like, I know that they've liked each other from the beginning, and she kept thinking it's just magic, you know, it's just the room doing it. Ugh. And he's all like, I love her so much. He kind of reminded me of Will a bit in the Infernal Devices, where he's like, I love Tessa, but I can't have her. You know, that sort of thing. That's what he reminded me of. Emma, on the other hand, was like, she just kept seeing it as her Parvati thing, and then she drowns, almost drowns, and then they like fall and make out, and then, you know, stuff happens, and it's like, what? Another thing that kind of was like, what? At the end, when Emma is like, I need you to be my boyfriend. I'm so glad that I think she's gonna tell him. She basically explained it, like, this is a life or death situation. Julian has to know. It's gonna kill him if he doesn't. Like, Mark, if she doesn't tell him in Lord of Shadows at all, he can probably pick it up like, oh, it's because Julian likes Emma and Emma's trying to help him. He might not know that Emma likes him back, as in Julian, but he will, if he's not told by Emma, will pick it up that she's doing it for Julian's sake, and she's like, I gotta move on, stuff, like, you gotta lie with me. But then what got me is when he does the little why lie thing, like, he like shuts the door, and she's like, we gotta pretend all this stuff that we're together and stuff, and then he's just like, well, why lie? And I was like, what does that mean? I just think the worst of things was like, wait, are they gonna like freaking make out now and have it be like all dramatic and stuff? Like off scene, obviously? Or does that mean like, why lie? As in like, well, why not? Like, what happens if we do fall in love? Like, wouldn't that be nice? I hope he means like that way, like, well, why not make the best of it? Like, why do we have to lie? This, like, it could work out. So, and like, I hope it's like that and not what I thought it was like, because I want this to be happy. I don't want them to be together for the sake of being with each other, if that makes sense. You know, like, I gotta say, if they don't progress, or it's just for the sake of Julian, I'm gonna be so annoyed. Like, I want something to come out of this, even if they don't end up with each other in the end. I want to have them at least have gained feelings for each other. Because can gain different relationships and loves in their life. Like, I mean, Jocelyn and Valentine were in love with each other at one stage, and we all saw how that turned out. So, you know, and then Tessa, she had Jem and Will, so it can happen. But like I said, I want something nice to come out of this, because I love Mark, I love Emma, I like them together, I ship them. So I want something good. I want them to start develop feelings, and not because they're doing this to make someone else jealous, or someone to stop Julian from liking Emma. I want them to actually, at some point, to be like, wow, you know what, they're damn good looking and I actually really do like them type thing. I want that to happen. But who knows, it might not happen. But that's just what I hope comes out of this, okay? Lord of Shadows, you better not disappoint me, I swear to God. Anywho, other things, Malcolm, that is actually so sad. Like, when I read it, I was like, oh, it was him all along? Like, oh my God, I love that. I love the fact that it was him and he was helping out. Like, oh my God. And it was so sad. Like, his reason was sad. Like, my God, a bit crazed because, you know, even his friends, technically he had no friends in his view, so it was kind of sad the fact that he just thought everyone was against him. He could have just asked, he could have, I don't know, like so many things came up to, like, after all this time. It's insane. That was a good plot twist. I like that, where it was him. Making it Diana is evil would have been so cliche. I'm so glad they didn't do that. They made you think that was gonna happen, but I'm glad that didn't happen. Oh, we're doing it again. The instructor's evil. That sort of thing. So I'm glad they didn't do that. But yeah, Malcolm. That was such like a thing. It was kind of sad. And when I went back to actually read the parts where he did interact with Julian and that, and you can see it in his words, where he's actually talking to them, he's basically telling him stuff, and it's also weird because he's giving him like hints, like, boy, you love Emma, I know you do, like, you're gonna do something about it. Like, it was weird. It's like he's got two personalities. Like, he can relate to Julian because he can't have Emma, and he loves love. He loves the idea of it, but then there's the also evil side where he's like, kill all the Blackthorns, me, that sort of thing. Like, I need them for sacrifice. As well as a beautiful bonus in this book that I must talk about, I am glad that certain characters in the Mortal Instruments didn't come into such a huge play in this book. I was saying it before I had ever started reading, and the Dark Artifice came around and it was about Emma and that. I was like, if she writes in like Jace and Clary as kind of main characters in this book, I'm gonna be annoyed because I don't know who these characters are. I know that sounds weird, but I've been reading these books for 7 to 8 years now, so I've grown attached to these characters. These characters in this book are 5 years older. You know, I don't know who this Clary is, I don't know who this Jace is. I don't want them to be center characters in these books or any of the others. Magnus is fine because he's in like everyone, and well, Magnus is okay because, you know, it makes sense with Magnus. But the other characters, I didn't want them to be central characters in this book, and they're not, which is a nice surprise. They come in here and there, little dashes of them, and I'm like, oh, that's sweet, that's so nice. Like, I'm glad it wasn't like a huge, like, this is who they are now, and we're seeing it from other perspectives, because I'm someone who doesn't like that. Like, sometimes it can work well. I don't know, I just have this weird thing about it because I don't know who these characters are anymore. Like, where's the 5 years of them that I haven't read? So I like the little dashes, the little sprinklings of them here and there. I'm like, oh, that's nice. It makes sense why they're here, makes sense that they mention them. And I gotta say, Simon and Izzy, oh, that was so cute. I was like, oh, they're getting engaged. That was so nice. And Alec and Magnus have adopted a little kid named Max. Oh my God, it's so cute. I love it so much. Sorry for the weird fangirling there, but oh my God, I just love it so much. Oh, these characters, oh, I love it. So it's lovely. So this book was beautiful, and I love you. And the covers are so nice. Like, oh my God, let's just look at that. Her covers are so beautiful. And even this, like, this is so good too. Funny story about this, like, this book took me ages to get because I was going to Sydney and this book had been everywhere. It was only $14. And I was like, oh, I'm going to Sydney to a big bookstore. I'll buy it then. It was $27. Like, no. If this book is $14 in like Kmart, I'm getting it there, son. Like, I'm not paying some $27 for this gorgeous piece of thing. Like, no. And I gotta show this. This is so annoying. Placement is key, people. If you can see, they are so off. Sitting up on a shelf, that is going to annoy me. Do books, when they're printed out in certain places, get printed out differently, or is this just like with everyone else's? Because there's two sizes to this. There's like the really short one. That's when it's like weird. It's not like the whole entire cover's changed. But anyways, so that is my little review of Lady Midnight and discussion type thingy. More like fangirl, but you know, I have to fangirl about certain things. It helps me live. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you've stayed this far, I really appreciate it. Expect more from me, because I'll be doing just random little reviews on books that I myself like to read that may be popular right now, but majority of it will just be books that I'm currently reading now, because I'm a university student. I can't spend my money on 5 books and read 5 books a week. That's insane. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be sure to make more videos. I can't wait to read The Lord of Shadows. Cassandra Clare, thank you for being alive. You write beautiful books. And yes, goodbye.